imagine you finally flip the switch on your brand new AI support bot, right?
Right. The big moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You head home for the night, feeling great about it. But then you wake up to just a graveyard of furious customers.
Oh, man. And probably a completely demoralized staff, too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is the ultimate business nightmare. Like, you are managing a small service desk or you run an IT team and you know you need to scale up.
Right. Everybody wants that 24/7 support coverage that an AI chatbot promises.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the terror, that thing hallucinating or frustrating your loyal clients or
Just completely shattering the workflow your human team relies on every single day.
yeah, it's paralyzing, honestly.
Well, it is a totally rational fear, It's backed up by decades of corporate missteps. Like, if you look at the history of technology adoption, you see this long line of companies that tried to force massive digital transformations basically overnight.
Oh, for sure. They just try to change everything at once.
Exactly. They launch a whole new system entirely all at once, and inevitably the software hits some weird edge case. The customers hit a wall, and the staff is caught completely flat-footed trying to clean up the mess.
And the trauma of that kind of disruption is honestly why businesses stick with slow, outdated systems for way too long.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the one who broke the company.
Right. So that fear of the launch is exactly what we are dismantling in today's deep dive. We are pulling from a really highly practical guide by Chatitude, and it's titled The Phased Blueprint for Risk-Free AI Chatbot Deployment.
It's a great piece, very grounded.
It really is. So our mission today is to extract the exact roadmap they lay out. We are looking at how to avoid that catastrophic launch failure, the specific mechanisms for integrating AI into the messy systems you already use, and how to do it without needing to hire like a whole team of data scientists.
And I think the value of this specific source is that it completely ignores all the theoretical hype around artificial intelligence.
Yeah, no talk about, how many parameters a model has or whatever.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Instead, it zeroes in on operational reality. I mean, it operates on the premise that when AI deployments fail in a business, it is rarely because the underlying technology was actually bad.
Really? So what is it usually?
Well, they fail because the deployment strategy completely disregarded the human element. They ignore the existing continuity of the business.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if the failure usually comes down to how the technology is introduced to the staff, what does a successful introduction actually look like?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right, like are we talking about some massive training seminar where everyone gets a thick manual on how to talk to the bot?
Actually, it's the absolute opposite. The guide warns that the literal worst thing an organization can do is rip out the legacy tools that agents know inside and out and just drop this unfamiliar AI dashboard onto their screens.
That makes sense. People hate when you mess with their interface.
They despise it.
Yep.
So the source advocates for an augmentation-first approach. You add to their capabilities without taking away their familiar tools.
Oh, I see. So the human agents just keep their current software interfaces.
Exactly. And on day one, the AI only handles incredibly discrete, low-risk background tasks. Like, it might just tag the sentiment of an incoming message as angry or neutral, or it might just route a ticket to the right department.
Okay, so it's acting less like a replacement worker and more like kind of an invisible assistant just sorting the mail.
That is the exact goal. And to ensure that integration doesn't spook the team, or the customers for that matter, the guide outlines there's a really specific mechanism called shadow mode.
Shadow mode? I mean, it sounds very stealthy, but what is it mechanically doing in the background?
Well, what's fascinating here is that it functions as a literal dress rehearsal. It's running in real time, but it is completely hidden from the public.
Wait, so how does it practice if the public can't see it?
So when a customer submits a query, the AI processes it and generates a full response. But the AI is physically disconnected from the send button.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Instead of going directly to the customer, that generated response is routed internally to a human agent. The human reviews it, sees exactly what the AI was planning to say, and they can either approve it, edit it, or just delete it and answer the customer themselves.
That seems like a massive safety net. Basically, the human agent is grading the AI's homework before it gets handed in.
Exactly.
So if the AI hallucinates something crazy, the customer never even knows.
Right, the risk is zero.
But doesn't that create double the work for the human agent? Like, they are reading the AI's response and then basically doing the job anyway.
Well, in the short term, yeah, it does add a slight review step.
Yeah.
But the payoff is psychological, which the guide argues is actually more important than the technical testing.
Psychological how? like getting them used to it.
Yeah, your human team gets to observe the AI's behavior safely. They get to flag its mistakes and actually watch the system get tuned. But more importantly, as they see the AI generating consistently accurate responses day after day, this massive shift
They
happens.
stop being scared of it.
Exactly. The agents start to realize, hey, this software isn't here to replace me or make me look incompetent. It is actually capable of taking all this tedious work off my plate. You're building human trust organically.
Okay, I definitely understand the psychological benefit there. But let's say we have run this shadow mode for, I don't know, a month. The AI is scoring an A+, the agents completely trust it, and the safety net has done its job.
Right, it's passed the test.
So why not just bring it out of the shadows at that point and let it take over everything? Like, if it's ready, isn't it?
You would think so, but no. Because the complexity of customer requests is not just a flat line.
What do you mean?
Well, the source is absolutely adamant that you must strictly control the live transition by gating the rollout. You base it entirely on the difficulty of the specific use case. Even if the AI is super smart, the broader business ecosystem needs to adapt in stages.
Okay, so we aren't opening the floodgates. We're just slowly turning on a faucet.
A great way to put it.
So what does that first gate look like?
The first gate is strictly restricted to simple, highly predictable tasks. Think about things like order status inquiries or password resets.
Right. Very low stakes interactions.
Exactly. From a technical standpoint, an AI doing a password reset usually only has to make one single call to an Active Directory. It is very linear. But once that first gate is running flawlessly in live production, then you open the second gate, which is moderate challenges.
Okay, a moderate challenge being something like, well, like a billing dispute maybe.
Yes, billing disputes are a perfect example, because a billing issue requires the AI to pull context from an invoice, then check a service-level agreement, cross-reference previous payments, and then follow a strict resolution policy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that involves a lot of multiple systems talking to each other.
Exactly. The integration issues you face opening that second gate are entirely different from the first. If you went live with everything on day one, you'd have 20 different integration fires burning across your entire network simultaneously. Gating contains the risk.
That makes total sense. And so the final gate would be the really complex, nuanced stuff, right?
Right, like multi-stepped technical troubleshooting or dealing with an escalation where the customer is already furious.
But I mean, even the smartest model is going to hit a wall eventually. If the AI gets confused during some complex troubleshooting session, how do you keep the customer from just, throwing their keyboard out the window?
You have to preserve the human element through manual overrides. The guide highlights this as completely non-negotiable.
Like a panic button?
Basically, yeah. Easy escalation paths must stay completely intact from stage 1 all the way through to full deployment. Human agents must always have a one-click ability to take over a session instantly.
Well, that makes sense for the customer's experience, obviously. But earlier, the source mentioned that technology adoption usually fails at the human level. How do these specific overrides help the staff?
They preserve what we can call workflow muscle memory.
Workflow muscle memory. Okay, explain that.
Well, human agents know exactly how to handle an angry customer, right? They do it all the time. But if they have to learn a completely new, convoluted dashboard interface just to rescue a failing AI interaction, they will panic.
Oh, I see. The system will feel totally out of their control.
Exactly. By keeping the manual overrides simple and familiar, the human feels empowered. They're still the boss of the process. If humans feel they have lost agency, they will actively reject the tool, no matter how efficient the actual code is.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me, though. If the AI is going to handle all these different tiers of complexity, I mean, from a simple password reset to digging through billing databases, it assumes the databases actually make sense.
Which is a very bold assumption.
Right. Most ticketing systems I've seen are just completely chaotic. The historical data is a mess.
Oh, yeah. That is the Achilles heel of almost every AI deployment, especially in the managed service provider space, the IT firms that manage networks for other businesses.
That's the MSPs.
Yeah. They use these complex software platforms called professional services automation tools, or PSAs. The source specifically names platforms like ConnectWise, Autotask, and Halo PSA.
Okay.
These are essentially the central nervous systems for an IT business. They track every ticket, invoice, and user profile.
And every single IT business configures those tools completely differently, right? Like some have 50 custom fields, and some just have a giant text box where people type whatever they want.
Exactly.
So how does an out-of-the-box AI possibly read all of those different messy configurations?
Well, if a developer tried to build a custom integration for every single client's unique ConnectWise setup, the project would bankrupt them. It's impossible. So the solution presented in the blueprint is building a normalization layer.
A normalization layer. Okay, what is actually happening inside that layer?
Basically, instead of plugging the AI directly into the raw, messy database of the business, you put this software layer right in the middle. The normalization layer takes the unique data from whatever system the business uses and maps it into a universal, common schema.
And a schema is like a template.
Yes, essentially a master template. It translates everyone's bizarre, custom language into one standardized format for support tickets, user profiles, and time entries.
So it is essentially a universal translator. Like if I speak Spanish and you speak Japanese, instead of us spending years trying to learn each other's languages, we both just translate our thoughts into English first.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
And so the AI only has to learn the English, this universal schema, instead of trying to understand 100 different custom database structures.
Yeah, exactly. That is the exact mechanism. The AI only communicates with that standardized layer. But, you brought up a critical point a moment ago about chaotic historical data.
Right, because even if you have a perfect translator, what if the person typing the original ticket just wrote, fixed it, with absolutely no context for the last 3 years?
Yeah, that is the classic garbage in, garbage out problem. And the source outlines a really fascinating way around it.
Oh, really?
The AI actually doesn't rely on your messy historical data to function. It actively bypasses the bad data by enforcing strict structure from the very moment it is turned on. It does this through what they call guided interactions.
Wait, if someone types, my computer's broken, the AI doesn't just look at old tickets to see what to do. How does it guide the interaction?
Well, it basically refuses to move forward until it has the information it needs. If a user says, my computer is broken, the AI will not generate some vague ticket. It will prompt the user and say something like, I can help with that. Are you on your laptop or your desktop? What is the specific error message? Is this stopping you from working entirely, or is it just an inconvenience?
Oh, I love that. It acts like a bouncer at an exclusive club.
Exactly like a bouncer. You are not getting onto the ticketing list until you show your ID, state your business, and provide all the required context.
That is so funny, but also brilliant. It is physically blocking vague requests. But what does that mean for the database over time?
Well, it means the AI is doing way more than just answering questions. It is actually sanitizing the environment. Every time it takes in that structured information, it writes the summary back into the system using perfect formatting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Every time entry, every status update, every categorization is perfectly standardized. Over weeks and months, simply by refusing to accept bad inputs, the AI actively cleans up the data environment.
So by enforcing its own rules, the bot forces the entire human ecosystem to become organized. That is incredibly clever.
It really is.
But okay, this brings up a massive logistical question for me. We are talking about normalization layers, running translations in real time. We've got AI bouncers enforcing intake rules and shadow modes running parallel systems.
It sounds heavy.
Yeah, that requires an immense amount of computing power. Whereas like a 30-person IT firm getting the server infrastructure to run a massive neural network.
They aren't. And that is exactly why this is actually accessible to small businesses. The guide lays out a very clear division of labor between the platform provider, which is the massive tech company that built the AI, and the local IT firm, the managed service provider.
Break that division down for me. Who is doing what exactly?
So the platform provider handles all the heavy lifting that requires immense capital. They manage the cloud infrastructure, the raw computing power, processing millions of data points, the foundational data security, and the continuous optimization of the large language models.
Okay, so they handle the engine.
Right. The local IT firm doesn't touch any of that code. Their only job is configuration and teaching the AI their specific company rules.
I see. It is like hiring a classically trained sous chef. You don't have to teach them how to hold a knife or how to make a mother sauce or how to work a stove. The culinary school, which is the platform provider in this case, already did all that.
Exactly.
You had to teach the chef your specific restaurant's menu.
That captures the dynamic perfectly. And this is executed through a two-stage training process. Stage 1 is deploying that baseline model. The AI comes out of the box already understanding general IT support. It knows the basics of triaging an issue and the general rules of when to escalate.
Right. And stage 2?
Stage 2 is where the local IT firm layers on their specific tuning. They feed the AI their own internal knowledge bases, their unique standard operating procedures, and their specific rules of engagement.
Wait, what stops that newly trained sous chef from going rogue and rewriting the menu? Like, what keeps the AI from making catastrophic changes to a system if it gets confused during stage 2?
Strict, hard-coded guardrails. The system is programmed to automatically escalate to a human the second its confidence level in an answer drops below a certain threshold.
Okay, so it knows when it doesn't know something.
Exactly. Furthermore, every single action it takes is logged for full auditability. But most importantly, there are hard rules regarding read and write access. The AI might be able to read a user database to verify an identity, but it is physically locked out of the ability to delete or alter that database.
Okay, structurally, this makes a lot of sense. The local IT firm has protected their workflow, they have clean data going in, they have guardrails preventing disasters, and they didn't have to build a multi-million-dollar server farm to do it.
Right, it's a huge win.
But we have to look at this from the perspective of the actual end customer. If I hire a local IT firm because I want personalized, familiar service, and suddenly I am chatting with a bot powered by some massive global tech conglomerate, I mean, doesn't that feel incredibly sterile?
It would, if not for the concept of white labeling, which the guide actually emphasizes heavily. White labeling allows the local IT firm to completely customize the AI experience so that it feels like a native extension of their own brand.
But white labeling usually just means slapping your own corporate logo on a piece of software and maybe changing the background color, right?
Well, it goes much deeper than just visual branding here. Yes, they host it on their own web domains and use their own colors, but the real customization happens in the personality and the procedural logic of the AI.
The personality.
Yeah, the IT firm tunes the conversational tone. If a firm prides itself on being the friendly, approachable, IT team next door, they instruct the AI to use casual language, maybe use emojis, and just speak plainly.
Oh, I see. And if they manage IT for high-end law firms, they make the bot sound like a paralegal, buttoned up, formal, and strictly professional.
Exactly. But the true magic of the white labeling is embedding the client-specific workflows. When the customer interacts with the bot follows the exact same troubleshooting steps that the human team at that specific firm would actually use. This creates a fascinating psychological paradox for the end user.
What is the paradox?
Well, to the customer, they are experiencing the intimacy and specific knowledge of the local mom-and-pop IT shop they hired. But behind the scenes, they are being serviced by the scale, speed, and reliability of a massive global AI infrastructure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the customer gets hyper-personalized service instantly, 24/7. The local IT firm gets the benefits of cutting-edge technology without having to build it. It is an illusion, but an incredibly effective one.
So bringing this all back to the listener, what does this all mean? If you started this deep dive, terrified that AI was going to completely break your business, the blueprint from Chatitude offers a totally different reality.
It really does.
You do not need to build a neural network from scratch. You don't have to force a massive disruptive overhaul on your team. By utilizing an augmentation-first approach, running in shadow mode to build human trust,
Yeah,
gating your rollouts by complexity, and leveraging a normalization layer to handle your messy data, you maintain total control.
absolutely.
You can harness global computing power while making it look and feel exactly like your local brand.
And as you think about how all these pieces fit together, there is a really fascinating secondary implication to consider here. We spent time discussing how the AI acts as a bouncer. Using guided interactions to enforce strict structure and formatting on every single ticket it touches.
Right. Over time, it simply refuses to accept disorganized inputs.
Exactly. It cleans the environment by refusing to be messy,
Yeah.
which leads to a broader question. As these systems deeply integrate into our daily operations, could the greatest financial and operational value of an AI chatbot eventually have less to do with its ability to talk to your customers and more to do with its ability to subtly, continuously retrain your human workers to be precise, structured, and disciplined in how they handle information?
Now, that is a lingering thought. The most valuable thing the AI does might not actually be replacing the human, but finally teaching the human how to organize their own database.